Hey, it's Grant. Before the show starts today, I want to tell you about Hangover Destroyer. Hangover Destroyer is the only all-natural product medically proven to prevent a hangover. If you like to drink at night and be able to think in the morning, one shot of Hangover Destroyer lets you have all the fun and no side effects. Go to Hangover Destroyer's website, that's hdestroyer.com, write Happy Hour in the coupon code, and get 30% off your order of Hangover Destroyer and seize the dawn. It's Happy Hour again from Uptown New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com, brought to us today in part by Petite Pet Care. That's French. If you're going out of town or you have a schedule that keeps you away from home, the folks at Petite Pet Care understand that some pets are fine going to a kennel or doggy daycare, especially if they're a dog, but others prefer the comfort of their own home. For loving care when you're not there, check out Petite Pet Care at petitepetcare.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limo or just got out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you because that's New Orleans and this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common, other than we're all New Orleanians in a bar. In this case, we're at Wayfare on Ferret Street. And let me just introduce you briefly to the folks sitting around the table here. Lena Sendik. Hello, Lena.
Hi.
David DuBos. Hello, David. Jak Locke.
Hey there.
Wayfare is not just a bar, though. It's also a restaurant serving handcrafted food and spirits. Chef Kevin White here puts fine dining into a sandwich, and that's not just some sort of a bullshit slogan. I'm not really a food person at all. But we have this other show on it's neworleans.com called Midnight Menu Plus One, and they've been going on and on about these sandwiches here at Wayfare. You've heard that? And I'm like, after a while, I'm like, you know, how good could a sandwich be?
Oh.
At any
it
point,
can
really.
Be very good.
So I finally had one
Wayfare.
here. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. What'd you
It's
have?
amazing. I had this something called a Medea something or other. Have you had that one?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This guy, Chef Kevin White.
Oh
is-
yeah.
You're in heaven over there.
He was a pasta chef for Mario Batali in New York, and his concept is putting fine dining into a sandwich. And it's extraordinary here. If you're in New Orleans and you want to check out a sandwich like you've never had before, I promise you, come down here to Wayfare on Ferret Street. The bartenders also make awesome drinks here. What are you guys drinking, Sarah? What have you got?
I'm drinking a cucumber cooler.
You've drunk a lot of cucumber cooler in the last 1 minute, I must say.
It's very refreshing.
And Lena, what have you got?
I am drinking a ginger acai berry martini.
Wow.
Is that how you pronounce it? Acai.
That's what I was told.
Yes,
Well,
it is.
You're in the healthcare business, isn't it? Doesn't have some sort of herbal remedial properties?
Yes.
Have you ever tried it? I ordered some acai berry pills on the internet. Have you heard of the internet?
I have.
I got totally fucked by
you
these
can
people.
get a lot of stuff on the internet.
Yes, I know. It's amazing. But can you believe I got suckered in by that thing?
It was
saying
an
that there was like
infomercial, wasn't it?
It's
Late at night, 2 in the morning, you couldn't go to sleep.
I can't
and
remember
you're
what
just like,
time it was,
to
but
get
I thought it
that.
was something I could do for my health. But it was good for my health. It was good for my mental resolve.
Yeah.
So I threw the stuff away.
It is supposed to be full of antioxidants.
Yes,
right.
but is it actually?
It
Lena?
is.
Yes, but you would do much better just drinking acai berry or eating one.
Yeah.
Anything in its natural form is
Right.
much better.
Where would I find an acai berry if I was going to
You
eat
can
one?
actually buy dried acai berry at Whole Foods.
Can you?
Yeah.
And
And
goji berries.
Goji
as
berry
well.
is another.
What do
Yep,
they do?
Sarah,
I
you're
tried-
on the ball.
Let me tell you who Lena Sendik is, who you
Tell
listen
us.
to. Lena Sendik is the founder and CEO of Balance Integrative Health, which is why she knows something about acai and goji berries. And Balance Integrative Health is New Orleans' first standalone integrative health center. After spending 17 years working in both the public and private sectors of the state health system and experiencing the dissatisfaction of almost everyone associated with healthcare, I agree with that, I'm sure, Lena decided to bring a truly new integrative model to New Orleans. Lena helps people heal by designing individualized health and wellness plans. I thought that's what a doctor was supposed to do, but of course,
Well,
with those
we
days
have
behind us.
doctors there that do that.
Oh,
So
you
I
have?
don't actually
Are
do
you a
it.
nutritionist? Did you major in nutrition in college?
I'm a
or-
master's in public health, so
Okay.
I'm like the whole business end of it.
I gotcha.
I'm the idea
Right.
person and the money person and the
Are you making
team
a lot?
leader.
Are you making a lot of money over there?
We just
Integrative?
opened in June, so we're doing pretty well on the, just launching the business. We're getting our feet wet, and
How do you get
people are
people to
coming.
come in? You just advertise and
We've done some radio advertisement. We've got some television commercials out there. We're doing
are
direct
you,
marketing.
Are you
to-
in them? Are you the person like on the front? Like, come on down?
in the commercial?
Yeah.
I'm in the commercial.
Like
All of us are
Paw.
in the commercial. All of my staff and I are in the commercials.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are
It's a
you
little
from New
awkward.
Orleans?
I'm not. I'm originally from the Midwest.
Okay.
Grew up in Milwaukee and Chicago.
Oh,
so
nice.
Yeah.
And did you get your master's down here?
I did. Went to Tulane. So I got my
Nice.
master's in public health.
Do you have a
Yeah.
college degree, Sarah?
I do, from
What-
LSU,
what in- from LSU?
nutrition.
Nutrition. Aha.
Sarah, you
There
need to
you
come
go.
work with us.
I know,
Yes.
there you go.
Is that a job offer already? How much of that drink have you had?
I told you I was
Yeah.
a quick drunk.
I
Not
know.
very
You're
much.
already drunk offering people a job. This is awful. Awesome. I mean, not awful. Let me finish this. In recognition of Lena's work, the National Association of Professional Women named Lena the 2014 VIP Woman of the Year.
Wow.
Oh, my God. Woman of the Year. Congratulations.
Outta here.
Yeah.
Did you get a crown?
That's huge.
I didn't. I really wanted a tiara too.
Did you get a sash?
I got no.
What do you get for Woman of the Year?
I
You
got
like
Feather
it.
it?
boa.
No, but that would have been very
That would have
appropriate
been
too.
fun.
I got a plaque.
A plaque you can put up on the wall.
That's
Yes.
good.
Okay.
Not like in your mouth plaque.
No, I probably have that too.
Oh,
A little
I have
plaque
way
right
too
there.
much of that
No, I got a
You,
plaque.
you have
and
tooth problems, David?
all the time.
Dental problems. Do you really?
Yeah, I gotta go see her.
Some
we
people.
don't do dental work.
No, I meant the food stuff. The
oh, okay.
balance,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can do that.
The dietitian stuff.
And so
I need
you
to lose
have
weight.
Yeah, you're overweight.
Well, I need to lose weight.
How much do you need to lose?
I don't know, 40
40 pounds.
maybe. I don't know.
And how'd you put it on?
I live in New Orleans, man.
Just that's what it is? Yeah.
New Orleans,
That's it.
drinking and eating.
That's it.
So would
maybe
you,
it's
are
not
you
40.
prepared?
That's too severe, but
Are you
I think
prepared to
25.
give up po' boys and beer?
Oh yeah, bread is a killer, right?
You don't have to do that. Everybody's different. Everybody's body is different and reacts to things differently. And just never give up anything. It's all about moderation.
Okay.
Because if
Never
you do
give up anything.
something, you crave
hear
it
that?
so much,
Advice I
and then
can
you
get
just
behind.
break. It's a diet more than just a lifestyle.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
about a lifestyle change. No diet. Diet's a bad word.
Okay,
Yeah.
so are
Have
you
your
s-
po' boy. Have it twice a month instead of every day for lunch.
Well, I don't eat it every day.
No, I'm
but-
just. But
But
there are a
I
lot of
need
people
to-
who do.
I need to
something's made you
exercise
40
more, too.
Oh, that's the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah. What do you like
That'll
to
help
do
a
in the
lot.
way of exercise?
What do I do? I'm sorry.
What do you like to do for exercise?
Open the refrigerator. Close the refrigerator.
Well, that's good. I suppose if you
typing,
typing's probably
watching
14,
TV.
right?
getting
And
up.
are you from New Orleans?
I am.
Okay.
Yes.
There you
Born
go.
and raised.
I'm a native.
I gotcha.
Let me finish reading this paragraph because this is the sentence I've been looking forward to reading since I glanced down while you were talking. Lena's own health and wellness has been greatly increased by moving to New Orleans for college, which we've already discovered, and never returning, leaving behind her membership in the soprano-like Milwaukee Balistreri crime family.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Really?
Is that true?
It is a bit true, but it's a little the soprano-esque aspect of it is a little bit exaggerated. I do have a relative who is. It's very convoluted. My family, my father's family is Sicilian, and they're all from like the same 3 towns in Sicily. So there's a little intermarriage going on several generations back, and so my it would be my great aunt. Her brother married someone else that was related to the family, so it's like intermarriage. But he took over the mob family in Frank Balistreri, who's a mob boss of Milwaukee, and
And
ultimately
what relation is he to you exactly?
he's an uncle.
He's your uncle.
So your uncle is
Great
a mob
uncle, great
boss.
uncle.
So your
Was.
dad's brother.
We're talking
No,
about
great uncle.
Oh,
So
great
it was my
uncle.
grandfather. It was my grandmother's brother-in-law who was somehow related to my grandfather as well.
But
So
if
very,
something did happen nowadays and you needed somebody to be there for you, you have people.
well, my people are
that-
dead.
Okay.
He unfortunately died in federal prison.
Ah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
a lot
there
of
are
these
no more
guys end
people
up in jail.
left.
no more people, and
right.
I don't want to find them.
So the
Was
mob.
there ever an Italian restaurant and in the back there was maybe some
Shady
dealings
yeah.
going
It
down?
was
and-
absolutely. It was called Snugs and waterfront property in Milwaukee. There was a payphone, and it's funny because I was 11 or 12 when most of this was going on, and you don't know. And
Were there any late night fishing excursions or
not
No.
with
Cement.
not with a 12-year-old.
But they killed people and so on.
I'm sure.
So wait,
Scary.
you said when you were younger you'd be in the
Yeah,
Italian
well, I'd go
restaurant
into the bar, and you'd see the old men sitting there on the payphone,
smoking
and everything.
cigars.
Yeah, and I
like
just didn't
Goodfellas.
know. Yeah, I didn't know. And our family had grocery stores and pizza parlors and meat markets, and I mean, we sort of kept to our own little self. My father's an attorney, and you sort of distance yourself from all that. But as you get older and you realize what's going on, you're like, Interesting.
That
Now
phone
that's-
only rang at this certain time, and there was only, and he always
right
said
and
a certain code.
That's right.
and that was definitely going on in Snubs.
Oh my God.
Wikipedia.
And so, yeah,
Wikipedia.
exactly.
Here he is.
That is your
Wikipedia.
great
Frank-
your great uncle.
Frank
That means it's real. It's on
He looks
Wikipedia. That means
nice.
it's real.
He looks
And
very
he
nice.
took over for.
Don't
Read
they
that.
all?
Look
Don't
Look
they
at the
always look
sentence
nice?
here.
He's a nice-looking young man.
Ballesteria
got some handsome people.
eventually
Hey.
referred to himself as the most powerful man in Milwaukee and said after the hit on an acquaintance, August Augie Palmisano, Ballesteria was quoted as saying, "He called me a name to my face. Now they can't find his skin."
Ooh, got him.
Apparently,
Well, there's some movie
Got
dialogue
him.
right there.
So you've
I
read
like
this,
this
no doubt,
guy.
on Wikipedia, right?
I
So
did,
this is
yeah.
all true,
From-
this stuff here.
I don't know if it's all true. My real memory, it was 11 years old or 12 years old, and I would sit in the morning and read the paper with my father. And, he'd always have the front page of the paper, and I'd read the little comics and the Living and the Dear Abby. And you know how they continue the stories on into the back. Well, I flip over, and I'm, reading, and there's dialogue. Uncle Frank, so-and-so, Uncle Frank, so-and-so. And I'm like, Dad, why is Uncle Frank in the paper? He's like, I don't pay any attention to that. And I'm like, but they're saying he said, it was wiretaps that they had printed
No
in
way.
the, when he was getting in trouble. And I'm like, oh, but I didn't get it. I didn't know.
David,
Crazy.
David, you want a drink? Well,
Sure.
too late. We just lost the
well,
waitress.
that's all right.
Well, that is
This
a
is
great
kind of a
story.
fun one.
Well, yeah,
That's
let's.
fun.
We might be able to come up with some ideas about making that into a movie. Do you think?
Oh, I'm sure that I don't know why somebody hasn't already. And he took,
Well, let's-
he
this-
took over for another family
You know
member,
who
Mr.
might-
Alioto, and they
Mr.
were family
Alioto.
too.
So you're two generations into the mob in Milwaukee.
Apparently,
You
so.
know who could make this into a movie? The guy sitting right next to you, David DuBos. He's a screenwriter and
I've got
award-winning
some
filmmaker.
ideas, David. Let's talk.
Let's talk.
David's work has appeared on Lifetime, Stars, and A&E, among others.
Ooh,
David's
Lifetime.
debut short film, The Roommate, starred Bill Paxton and premiered at the Sundance Film Festival.
Like
David's
Bill
documentary, Rodrigue, A Man and His Dog, starred Oscar winner Whoopi Goldberg as the voice of Tiffany, beloved pet of world-renowned Cajun artist George Rodrigue. You made a film with a talking dog in it.
I did.
And
Way before the talking
Whoopi
dog
Goldberg.
phase. Way before
Was
Babe
it-
the Pig, too.
Way before
Really,
that
it
was
was-
cool.
So you started that trend.
I did.
Wonderful.
I'm in charge of that
The
evil
originator.
trend.
And there was a documentary about the blue dog.
And that's the one I
about
did.
George
Yeah.
Rodrigue.
Yeah.
What does she say, the dog? What words did you give the
Well,
dog to say?
it's interesting because George, when I interviewed George wasn't much of a talker.
Right.
He was kind of antisocial, to be honest with you.
Where'd you interview him?
I interviewed him in Lafayette,
Lafayette?
where he had his gallery.
Right.
And he agreed to sit down for one interview and then one little B-roll visit to where the Evangeline oak tree was.
Yep.
And that was it. And then he gave me a bunch of his paintings.
He gave you a
well,
bunch
not
of his
paintings,
paintings.
but like silkscreen
Prints.
Very cool.
to photograph. And then I had to come up with my own story. And George kept referring to Tiffany as like a human being. He
So
always treated her
Tiffany,
that
I
way.
dनहीं know the dog had a name, Blue Dog. It was called Tiffany.
Yeah, Blue
Okay.
Dog was a painting that he decided to paint like a werewolf dog, a loup-garou,
Yeah.
in a Cajun folklore. So he used Tiffany as a model. And he always talked about Tiffany as a person, not a dog. So I decided, well, let's let the dog narrate the story and we'll get someone to play the dog. And I met Whoopi Goldberg in his gallery one day, and a little light bulb went off, and I thought,
Bam.
I think I'll ask her.
Yeah.
And so I told her, I said, I can't pay you, certainly, what you're worth, but maybe I can get George to paint a painting of you with Tiffany
Did you?
as your payment. And I did.
Oh my
Nice.
God. That's probably worth
That
a lot
is
more than you
called
could have paid.
negotiating.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Where is
So-
the painting now? She has it.
She has it, yeah. She has it in her front room in her house.
I've always liked her. Was she nice
She's
in
awesome.
real life?
She's awesome.
She always seemed very.
Very down to earth, very funny, very easy to work with.
Whatever happened to her?
Sweetheart.
She
She's
still,
on The View.
She still does The View.
Yeah. And
Funny
occasionally
enough, I
acts.
haven't seen that.
Yeah.
She does still a bit of acting. I never
Yeah.
see her name anywhere. Do you, Sarah? Do you watch The View?
That's because
Rarely.
she's on The View.
That's
Yeah.
her.
Well,
She's
you
on
don't
The
watch it
View.
either,
That's
Lena?
a full-time gig.
Nobody
Yeah.
watches
I
that.
mean, first of all, I work every day
Yeah, I
during the
mean,
day, and second of all,
It's
View
all
would not be
drama.
my
It's
top.
like, eh.
What is the concept behind The View, David?
I don't know. It's just
You don't watch it
A
either?
bunch of
I know
women
that she's
talking
on it.
about all
Women
kinds of
shit that's
yeah.
boring
Just
and
women drama, basically.
But just because it's
awful.
women doesn't mean to me
women
have
and,
to be
and occasionally
crap.
women fighting with each other on the panel. Like
Yup.
They put like ultra liberals and ultra conservatives,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Go talk about
that's
this."
television. That's what news has become now.
Yeah.
So that's what it's supposed to be. It's like a news show with women arguing about crap.
It's
and just
more
about
like
all kinds
yeah.
of crap. I don't know.
It's really not that exciting unless you just
doesn't
want to
sound-
hear a bunch of women argue. But I think if you have girlfriends, you're probably and wives. probably get enough of that without watching it on TV.
So why would Whoopi Goldberg do that if she's so talented and fabulous? I guess
Because they're
it's a
paying her a
paid
lot of
check.
money.
Yeah, all right. I wonder what
Yeah.
I guess they get paid
And
a
then
lot
she
of-
doesn't have to do movies.
So anyway, David's movie that starred Whoopi Goldberg as a talking dog was on PBS. That's rather impressive.
So you were the director or the writer?
Yes, writer, director,
Director.
producer, editor.
I've
everything.
always loved the Blue Dog. I'm from Lafayette, and
Oh, okay.
I grew up with all that. My stepmom was their manager for a while, the cafe, Blue Dog Cafe.
Oh, yeah, sure,
And I
sure.
just,
Yes,
it's
a
always
cafe as well.
Mm,
What does
the
it?
Blue Dog Cafe. Yep. It's always just been. It's all over Lafayette and around there. So
Yeah, it's
cool.
ironic because when I interviewed him in the film, he says, "I don't want to put Tiffany on shirts and this and that and the other." And of course, a few years later, the dog
It's
was
everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the middle of Veterans Boulevard.
I know.
You couldn't get much cheesier than that. Currently, David's writing the screenplay adaptation for a book called Butterfly and the Typewriter, which he bought here. So we're going to all read 3 pages of this. Butterfly and the Typewriter is a biographical film about novelist John Kennedy Toole, author of A Confederacy of Dunces, which is, of course, never going to get made as a movie because it's mired in litigation for
Yes.
the last 100 years in Los Angeles. David's also directing his first feature film, Bayou Tales, which he's currently shooting right here in New Orleans. How come you've got a
That'll
day
be
off to
fun.
come and drink
Because you
alcohol
asked me,
down
my
here?
friend.
Wow. Well, I didn't. Graham asked you, but she's very persuasive.
tell
isn't
us
she?
about
Isn't
Bayou
she?
No, no.
Tales.
I made a concession to come here. No. You know what it is?
No.
I'm a big fan of those anthology films from the 70s that the British made. Tales from the Crypt, all
Right.
I'm
Oh,
not,
I love
I'm
that.
not
House the
British,
Triple
by the way.
I
You're
love
pointing
that.
at me when I'm
but
not.
I know you're familiar with what I'm talking about.
I wish I was.
Oh.
What are
I
you talking
love
about?
Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this is what
Tales from the Crypt.
Bayou Tales is sort of
Ah.
a southern Louisiana version of
Creepy.
yes,
I love
Tales from the
that.
Crypt, Twilight Zone-ish,
Yes.
and it's about a guy on the run from the law who, during a hurricane, he takes refuge in this rundown cafe on the bayou, and
On the
there's an old
bayou.
man there, and he tells him these stories,
I
and we
love
see the
it.
stories. We keep going back to the cafe. It all ties together at the end. So that's
So
what I'm
Do you
doing
need any extras?
all the time.
All right. Are you looking for a film career as
I'm,
well as
I'm,
being
I'm
a
definitely
nutritionist?
interested.
You should come on the set, and then you can come here and report about what it's like to
I
be
like
on a
that.
set of a
There you
movie.
go.
Yeah, we could
That
do
would be
like
cool.
yeah. Well, because we haven't had any reporters actually on the show
There you
ever.
go.
You could do the
I could
first-
be the
Yeah.
I could be the
Live
official
segment.
reporter.
Yeah, you could do
I could just quit my regular day job.
I mean, you could do
just
this full
start
time.
doing-
It's an
yeah.
hour. It's only an hour a
Just
week.
give free drinks.
Yeah, it's free drinks and hanging out.
We are in New Orleans.
After all, let me tell you about our final guest on the show today. We're still doing the introductions an hour later. This is Jak Locke, ladies and gentlemen. You might.
Hi, Jack.
Hi, Jack.
How you doing?
Awkward pause.
Jack, no, because we're just waving at Graham DePonte, our fabulous producer who just walked in. Jak Locke is a New Orleans entertainer in every sense of the word. As a multi-instrumentalist and songwriter, Jack is the frontman for the high octane The Jak Locke Rock Show and the experimental Jak is a 4-letter word, which is a sort of a literary joke because Jack is spelled J-A-K.
Correct.
The C is silent.
Very witty.
C is not even silent, it's missing.
That's as witty as I get.
So-
Don't get excited.
So Jak is a 4-letter word is a funny
I
name
think
for
Sarah
a band.
can get you to get a little wittier today.
You think so?
We're trying for it. You
Yes,
know
Okay.
who he
Very
looks like?
witty.
He looks like the guy that sang. What is that song? I never fall in love. I'm gonna look
Okay,
it
come
up.
on.
I'm gonna look it up. But he looks like
Shazam.
a famous
Okay.
singer. I'm gonna look that one up.
No, yeah, I'm curious. Please do.
Let's see who Jak looks like.
Right.
Okay. Jak is also co-fronting the 1950s rock and roll trio, the NOLA Treblemakers, the vaudevillian folk trio, the Speakeasy Serenaders, and he ringleads the band for the Freaksheaux To Geaux circus, sideshow, burlesque troupe. And if you think that's all he does, keep listening. As a filmmaker, Jak is finishing up his directorial debuts, plural, a complimentary set of 2 independent Western films, both called Targeted. David, would you want to hear the story behind that, or shall I finish this whole thing?
No, go ahead.
I'm going to keep going. As a
Continue.
game designer, Jak's video game, Black Lodge 2600, was an internet hit in 2011. As an author, Jak's debut novel, Frogdale's Junkyard, is a political satire which requires zero knowledge of politics. And in his spare time, Jak hosts a podcast called Midnight Movie Exchange. And he makes appearances on this podcast. Jak was our first ever music guest on Happy Hour, way back in the beginning. And this is his 6th appearance
Correct.
on Happy Hour. Awesome. It's great to have you back. And wait till he
Yay.
sings a song
Welcome,
for you.
Jack.
This
Could
he's like
you
a silent
do just a little
volcano.
more?
I was going to say,
yeah.
do you,
No.
are you like
Yeah,
Michael
no.
Keaton in that Synchronicity movie? Just clone yourself repeatedly, you know?
So, but we got to find out about the movie because last time you were here, Targeted. Well, I'll give you the quick story for you guys. Targeted is 2 movies. One was a screenplay that Jack had written when he was 6 years old,
Correct. Yeah, I unearthed that and read it, and it was like, this is so bad that we've got to do a legit movie treatment of this.
But so now he's making the 6-year-old version
Right.
as a screenplay. I mean, as a movie.
Feature?
As a
Feature?
No, it's only about 40 minutes in length. I mean,
Okay.
I was 6. Come on.
You wrote a 40-minute film when you were 6. That's
I did.
I didn't know it was that long. I
impressive.
thought it was going to be about 5 minutes.
Actually, no. The A script is 40 minutes. That's right. The one I wrote when I was 6 is about 25 minutes, I think.
That's still
So,
pretty
yeah.
impressive.
Still
Still, yeah.
impressive.
Still, yeah.
I mean,
6
I
years
thought
old.
that
This
guy was impressive. He wrote Neon Bible when he was 16.
Yeah.
This guy, John Kennedy
Yeah.
Toole,
Yeah.
Oh wow.
16.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
I didn't write
Did
anything
you know
when-
that, Lena?
I did.
How did you know that?
Because I've read all of his books. I went to two. Well, what two?
He went to, and
he
John.
went to Tulane.
He went to Tulane.
He went to
he's
Tulane.
in
John
our-
His
Kennedy Toole went to
papers
Tulane.
are at Tulane in the
Wow.
Tilton Library. I went up there and
He's
Yeah.
in our
through
curriculum.
27 boxes of his stuff there.
Wow. If you go through it, are you allowed to touch it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Are you?
you got to wear
Do you have
gloves.
to wear
though.
gloves? Yeah. That's not
No,
so
I'm
funny.
kidding.
It's
You
an
don't have to
archive.
wear gloves.
You have to wear white gloves or
I
anything?
was like,
No,
that's a
but-
new one. We didn't
Really?
have to.
No, but
I
it's a
didn't
lot of his stuff there. Yeah,
Wow.
very interesting.
What sort of stuff is it? I mean, is
His
he
math,
anything?
everything from his math homework as a kid to
Right.
his letters he wrote when he was in the army.
And is he anything like Ignatius in Confederacy of Dunces himself?
Not well. It's hard to say. We can get into that, but I mean, he as I've been writing the script and researching him more and more, a lot of his attitude is Ignatius. Physically, no. It was based on Bobby Byrne, who was a professor at Southwest Louisiana, which is now ULL in Lafayette. And Bobby Byrne wore the crazy clothes and the hat and everything and the mustache, and he had the Boethius philosophy down. So that's where he got that from. But a lot of
Lena's nodding like you know all the stuff already.
Well, I don't know all of it, but I was a huge fan. I read his book. It was great, and when you live in New Orleans and you run around and you see that, like, when I moved here, it was like, oh my God, that's Lucky Dog. I get, and you like can pick, you can.
this was like a guidebook for
Well,
you.
I don't know about
Confederacy
that, but you
was.
suddenly visualize. I don't know about everybody else, but like when I read books, I visualize the story of what I think it's going to look like in my mind.
Right.
And it's really kind of funny because I get here and he does such a beautiful job in his book because what I visualized was the reality of it. And it's like, wow, this is so cool. This is real. And it's
funny because
sort of not real, but it is real.
people like Lena who come here from somewhere else and they read Confederacy and they say, wow, this is real. People in New Orleans read Confederacy and go, oh, it's exaggerated.
Well, and now
But it's not.
And
It
26
isn't.
years later, I still don't really feel like it's entirely exaggerated. I mean, there's some
Not
things
at
I look
all.
at now and I'm like, I guess, but it
really.
was great.
So what's the story of your movie about John Kennedy Toole?
It's about the
Is it
writing of the book and his starting with his birth, really, and his childhood.
And
up
will
into,
this be a feature film?
Yes.
Okay. So
Wow.
it's a biopic
Yes, it's a biopic
about a writer,
about a
which is
writer.
pretty hard to do. You don't see many of those.
A
Are there many
disturbed
others?
writer.
It's very hard to pull off, and that's the challenge. But I love
Right.
challenges, and then trying to make a cinematic, movie out of this guy's life. But it's not just about him writing the book. It's about his childhood and his relationship with his mother, his struggle to get the book published, his off and on relationship with Bob Gottlieb from Simon and Schuster, his suicide, and then the aftermath of his mother getting the book to Walker Percy
Right.
and having him, badger LSU Press to publish it. And it's ironic because this is a book that was not only rejected by over a dozen publishers, but even LSU Press took forever to make up their mind. And the thing has now sold to date 3.5 million copies. It's been
Wow.
translated in 27 languages.
Wow.
I mean, it's just a worldwide hit.
And still, the film of Confederacy of Dunces,
Which is
can
mired
never
in-
happen.
no,
Yeah, I mean
it's-
everyone's sued
It's
everybody.
a labyrinth of litigation.
Yeah,
my
it's
friend.
really bizarre that nobody.
is.
It's got so much money stacked up against it.
I don't
Who
think
had
it should be a
last?
movie because
Really?
it's too. The book is just, first of all, it's just too good of a book and it's too great of a book.
Yeah,
really.
but you could say
It's
that
too
about how many
episodic.
books could you say that about? What about the Bible? That turned out to be a
Yeah.
pretty good movie.
The
Ten
I
Commandments.
just think Confederacy is too episodic, and I can't imagine someone trying to take on that role. And the Confederacy curse, all the actors associated with it early on have died.
Who
John
are-
Belushi, John Candy, Chris Farley, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh my goodness,
all-
is
I
that
didn't
right?
know that, but you're right, huh? Oh my God, I never
Well,
thought
the
about
only
it.
one I knew.
Zach
that,
Galifianakis is now currently attached.
is he
Oh,
attached
God.
to-
Uh-oh.
I wouldn't,
poor
I wouldn't want to be in
Look
his shoes.
Heyo.
No,
Can you
poor
bet?
thing.
Can you go to Las Vegas or somewhere and put money on how long someone's going to live?
I
This
think
could
you
be the
might
day we
able to.
clean up.
I'm
Let's
sure
do
you could
that.
convince someone to
mean, it's like Thelma Toole from the grave. you
Yeah.
know,
How,
exactly.
So what did you?
Call my
what
great
did
uncle
you-
back from the grave.
It's
He'd
called
do
Frank
it.
Bell's Tree.
Yeah.
Hey, why is Zach Galifianakis attached to a film that's not going to get made, though? What does that
Well,
mean?
they're still struggling to try to see if it can get made. There's a version supposedly heading to Broadway that
it's different rights.
Nick Offerman read for Ignatius. So I don't know, but I don't know what's going on with that.
It's going to
They-
be a musical?
They can do no. It's like just a regular stage version of it. There's
Thank
been
God for
stage
that.
versions of Confederacy.
Right,
staged.
musical.
Well,
Baton
that
Rouge,
guy,
but-
that guy here from
Spud
here,
McConnell.
Spud McConnell. He did like
Yeah.
a one-man show or something.
Well, no, it's funny. I met the person who played Spud's mother on stage was a former student of Ken Toole's at Dominican College when he taught, and I interviewed her,
Wow.
and she provided me with a lot of very useful information about him
So you call the guy Ken Toole?
because that's what he called himself.
That's what he called himself.
He
John
called
Kennedy
himself
Toole.
John he was a very complicated guy, and he called himself John when he was in the army, but around his friends he was Ken.
Ken Toole.
Ken.
What
Yeah.
a funny name. What did he actually? Was he good looking? I mean, this is him on the cover of this book, but
A lot
hard
of the
to tell. He looks
students,
like a killer,
A lot
kind
of his students fell in love with him. They thought he was this really good-looking, handsome guy. And in certain photos of him, you can see where he was an attractive guy. But later on in life, when things weren't going so well, he sort of let himself go. But yeah, a lot of people have described him as a handsome young
Should've
man.
gone
And as
to
a baby, he
integrative
was
health.
like this beautiful child, very precocious child.
So do you have the rights to this book? Do you have
Yes,
to go
I
buy
do.
the rights to it and everything?
I had to buy the rights to the book, and there's some interesting laws that are involved with. You can write about anyone who's dead,
Yeah.
but you can't. If you write about someone who's alive still. Bob Gottlieb seems to be one of the few single people alive still.
Yeah.
You can write about him I'm using his own letters to John Ken Toole.
Is he the bad guy or a good
No,
guy?
but see, that's the thing. That's the interesting thing. According to Thelma and the narrative that the mother spun,
Yeah.
Gottlieb was the devil.
Yeah.
But
Right.
if you read his letters, he was actually very encouraging to him. I mean, and for a young novelist who had never published anything, to get the attention of Bob Gottlieb would be like someone from New Orleans who had never written a screenplay and getting the head of CAA to call him. You know what I mean?
Wow, it's
I
a
mean, it
pretty
was-
big deal.
it
CIA
was
is a big
deal.
agency in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So who's the bad guy in your story then?
His mental illness.
Oh, the mental illness. So it's like a sort of artsy French film.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. It's like a little bit of Capote, a little
But
bit
you got
of
to have a bad guy for a Hollywood movie.
Well,
I like
right.
that you make the mental illness the bad guy.
Yeah, that's the truth.
That's great. And
It's
it
the
is-
truth.
yeah.
And a lot of people want to look at Thelma as the villain, as the monster.
Right.
But she was also very complex, as dominating and domineering as she was. Without her, there would be no Confederacy. And Walker Percy is sort of the saint of the
Okay.
And what
So-
what
yes.
movie did you put on the Lifetime channel?
Cradle of Lies.
Tell us about that.
My
My dad loves the Lifetime channel.
That is so funny. Your
My
dad.
dad loves the Lifetime channel.
Let
or
me
the
s- let me
Hallmark
sum
channel,
up-
Is he
rather.
bedridden?
Let me sum.
I don't
He's
get
very
so,
active.
He's ambulatory and he
so
still
many
watches.
men love the channel, and I
Really?
think isn't it like for women? And I can't handle it all the
He'll
time.
be like, "Oh my God, you gotta watch this movie."
What does he think is so great about the Lifetime channel?
Not
He's
without
just
my
very
daughter.
sentimental. Like he'll read those novels that are, romance like
This is your own
novels.
dad.
This is my dad, a
he lives in
straight
Lafayette.
married man, very works out every day, good shape, good looking.
I just want to answer your question real quick about, and because it's a valid point that you made about why is the mental illness a villain. The movie I was associating with it also is A Beautiful Mind,
Oh, okay.
where his
That
mental
certainly
illness,
is
that
a good
Yep.
example.
got a
Makes
definite
sense.
kind of
Right.
precedent with that film.
So, Lena, you
Capote.
deal in mental illness as well, because I see integrative medicine. When I first read this, I thought integrative medicine was going to be like, because how you go to your gynecologist and you go to your dermatologist, and nobody knows what the left and the right hand is doing. I thought it was going to be integrating that kind of medicine, but it's actually integrating East and Western medicine.
Yeah, it basically we would ultimately like to integrate every specialty in Western medicine with Eastern medicine, and it's transdisciplinary medicine, which is a public health term. It just means using any and all therapies that could possibly be used to treat the individual, and we're all different. So, there's some chronic problems that we all have: chronic stress, chronic pain. We eat bad, we don't exercise, and all of these things lead to premature aging, premature hypertension, diabetes, all of these things. If we can get them under control sooner, just reducing a person's stress can add years to your life. So we combine
Is that true or just
yes,
something someone says?
It's absolutely true.
How many years could I add to my life if I could just fucking relax?
If you could, first of all, if you could meditate 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day will retrain your brain, will realign neural pathways in your brain, and can make a huge difference in how your body feels, how you think, how you form your thoughts.
Tell
It's
us
incredible.
about how you would meditate 5 minutes, and that's nothing.
We can
5
do it.
minutes a
We
day.
can do it right now.
Let's talk to
Yeah,
us
there's
about
a whole-
doing
Can you
that.
drink?
I think Jack's been doing it since he's been left out of the conversation.
Can you drink while you're meditating, or not supposed to?
I don't know a
So, I mean, could we
meditation
do it
version
now?
with that one. We could. I mean,
We can meditate right
I'll just
now.
tell you, on our webpage and our social media,
You wouldn't be
Facebook,
wasting
Twitter, we
5
have
minutes
all kinds of stuff that gives information about how to do it. You can meditate so many different ways. There's mantra meditations. There's visualization meditations.
Well, how do you do it?
I do all different things, but I do
Well, what
I
you
do half
What
an
did you
hour
do
every
today?
day.
Half an hour.
I
In
could,
the
if I
morning
could
or
do,
at night? Or
I'd
just
usually
whenever?
do like about 15 minutes in the morning, maybe 15 minutes at night. If I could
In
do
a quiet place.
You sit down and
I sit in my bedroom. It's like the most zen place in my house.
you sit on the floor.
Actually, I just lay on the bed. I mean, they say
Okay.
sit in an upright position, but you got to figure out what works for you.
Good for you.
I
When
had
do
to
you do
sit
this?
in a
What-
bathtub before I could relax enough to actually start meditating. It took me,
Was there any water in it?
yeah. I mean, I had to sit in the bathtub with
With
you
water.
know, with water,
Okay.
warm water, to just relax my body, because we don't realize how we carry our body, even that we're not relaxed. It's like, oh, you know.
Yeah, we do realize that, I think.
Well,
That's why we're
not
all
all-
drinking.
Right. But there's a process of just following your thoughts through. So when you have one thing that comes after another, just follow it to the next until your mind empties. There's no more thoughts. Or you can say mantras. You know, you could say, you know,
Just
give
go
me
back-
positivity over
Just
and
go
over
back
again.
one step. Okay. So what the concept I thought is to have no thoughts at all, to empty your whole mind. Mm-hmm. And that's why people say a mantra, because it replaces all thoughts. You just say the same thing over and over.
Well,
and
that's
over.
not entirely
That's not
true.
true.
When you say the mantra, there's a meaning behind the mantra, and what will happen is you'll say the mantra, but thoughts will still come in.
Yeah.
And then you refocus on the mantra until eventually you reach what they call the space between thoughts. And it may only be like a second, you know, when you do it in the beginning, but you'll realize you kind of snapped out and you didn't think anything and you weren't asleep.
Don't you have that driving a lot?
No,
You
I
suddenly
don't.
realize you're, you know, blocks away from where you were supposed to be, or watching TV. You're
but
like, what
that's
the hell just
usually
happened?
because I'm thinking about something else, or I'm
That's not the
talking
same-
on the
that's not
phone.
good.
No, not at all.
So how long did it take you to get to the point where you maybe are now, that you can actually do this and, you know, clear your head?
I tried for years on and off, but I've been pretty religious about doing it every day now for the past 2 years, and I feel a lot better. It makes me calmer during the daytime. I find it works better for me in the morning.
So run through what you do in the morning. You get up, and do you get up first and take a shower and whatever,
Nope.
or do you do it straight away?
I
You
do
wake
it
up and
right
then you
away.
lying in bed.
First thing I do, and sometimes I'll do like where I listen to ambient sound in the background,
NPR.
and I say a mantra. Like one of
You
my
have a mantra.
Well, there's many different ones.
Oh,
It's like
you don't
usually
need to get a special one from somebody. From a
you
guru.
could if you wanted to do transcendental meditation, but there's many mantras available all over the place. One of my favorite ones is Sat Chit Ananda, which means existence consciousness bliss, and it's Sanskrit, and you just say that over and over, and you know, I might think, oh my God, I gotta, you know, do
Get
3
up and
things
go to
today.
work.
Well, yeah, I'll think about all the things, and I'm like, no, Sat Chit, you know, and just keep doing it, and eventually, you know, I get to that place, and I'm like, oh wait, it just stopped, and then you realize it stopped, so then you're back to the mantra, and the longer you do it, you know, if I were to sit there for an hour, probably about 20 minutes, I'd be out, and it's just like almost like you're high, you know, like with nothing. It's a lifted space.
You guys ever done this before, Jack?
No, but I know that TM is very big with David Lynch and a lot of filmmakers, and you know, Buddhism is very big in Hollywood.
Well, transcendental meditation is not religious, though, or nor is Buddhism, of course, but it's not the same thing.
It's
is it?
spiritual.
It's spiritual, yeah, exactly.
It's a spiritual practice.
Right, but I mean, it's not related to a religion at all.
No.
It's
not
It's
at all.
not Hindu or Buddhist or
No,
anything at all.
they tend to practice it in their different
pra- yeah,
kinds of it.
exactly.
Right.
In Buddhism, it's like I can't say it right. Tonlgen it's Tonglen or something. It's their
Acai.
acai.
I think that's pronounced.
That's her new mantra.
How did you get into all this, Lena? How did you discover it?
Well, when I was dissatisfied with everything that was going on in healthcare, and just you're in an environment almost every single day where the doctor's not happy because he can't really do the job that he went to school to do. The patients are unhappy because they're sick and they're not getting the answers they want. The staff is unhappy because they're overworked. The other, vendors that are working with the doctors don't get the time. I mean, there's just nothing pleasant about being in our healthcare system these days. So,
Wow.
I had an opportunity to just kind of take some time and back away, and I needed to decompress. I didn't realize how upset and angry and frustrated I was, and I started looking for different ways to, take care of things. And
Did you try
meditation was the
anything
first
else?
thing
Did you try drugs or alcohol like most people?
Not really.
No.
I'm not big with that. I did that when I was in college and,
Right.
had fun, and it's just not really,
Did Uncle Frank get you any free weed or
nah.
nothing?
I was like 12.
No, well, that's not.
I did
there's
have
some-
parents
Yeah.
that were
the
not
your
in,
parents were normal, but
like
they were straight.
well, I wouldn't go so far as parents being
Okay.
normal, but let's just say
Whose
they were
parents
not in the
are
mob.
They weren't mob bosses.
They weren't mom
Okay.
bosses. Yeah, no.
They were just a different strain of
Hey,
normal.
listen, we're going to get on to figuring out how to make a movie out of your Uncle Frank's story in a minute, but let's
great.
make Jack play us a song in the meantime.
You're gonna make me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to force you to do it because time's getting on here. Look at the time already. Jack, what are you going to play for us today? You guys are
Play
in
one
for
of
a
mine.
surprise.
Nice
here.
guitar too.
Thank
I
you.
like
This
his
is beautiful.
hairstyle. Look at that hair.
Hair by the headphones.
There you go.
I think the headphones.
Isn't Jack? Jack's a great-looking guy, isn't he?
He
Let's
is.
face it.
Yeah,
Super
he's pretty
handsome.
handsome.
He's very
Even
handsome.
if you don't like
Kinda
his,
Elvis right
you should
here.
definitely go see
And we
him.
haven't even
He's
talked
worth a
about
look.
Targeted. We have to catch up. As soon as you finish the song, we can talk about Targeted,
As
the
soon
movies.
as I finish the song, I'm going to hit the restroom because I've got 3 pints of Purple Haze that are knocking on a door that I need to answer.
Hey,
Do you want to do that before you play?
Oh no, that'll make the song better.
Oh, okay.
there you go.
Is that right? A full bladder makes it sound better.
It always does.
Does it?
Every time.
Got a Swiss old Jackson mashed far down in my jeans. Half a dozen shots down, I got to keep my soul clean. Ain't nobody could tell you when my taxi coming round to take you away. 6 states left till I be alright. And I never know. Nobody get what they want. You just wait for the devil come for you. And it come when all but 20 spells. I slow said 26, guess I was off by 9. Her pimp wanted if he have to cross Mississippi borderline. Down in nowhere town I'd never be found. At least not today. Never could stand too much light. And I never knew. You can have what you put in without no one time and ever two. And you're lucky if you even make the rain. liquor store. I cracked her open just as the rain began to pour. 1,000 miles later, I'm Mexico bound, where they don't ask how I'm paid. For being 3 p.m. it sure feel like 9. And I never dead ends all over, waiting and all, they ain't particular for who. My advice, don't wonder where your innocence
Oh,
There you go. I'll be right back.
now that's Jak Locke for you. Jack, will let you go to the bathroom.
Awesome.
Just tell us what that song was called.
Broken Joe.
Broken
Broken
Joe.
Joe.
Okay, we'll have to wait till Jack comes back. What did you think of that?
I liked it.
It had a very,
He was very passionate
Tom
about it.
Waits kind of
Tom Waits.
kind of
inspi-
vocal
yes.
styling there.
Beautiful guitar.
Did you get
Yeah,
that?
totally great.
Did you get that
Yeah, a
from
little
him?
bit. He just unleashes some sort of wildness, doesn't he?
Yeah.
When he starts
Veins
playing.
are popping out
Yeah.
of his.
He's been,
neck.
well, as you know, he's been on Happy Hour. This is his 6th appearance. So I've
Yeah,
seen him
he's
do this
good.
many times before, and every time he starts to play, everybody at the table like sits back in their chair like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's like an energy wave.
Mm-hmm.
And he does all these wild things on stage as well. All these other shows that he does.
So he's
Jack-
been playing for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and he does all this other stuff too. We'll get him to tell us about his films when he comes back. Hey, Sarah, and I'm going to introduce you now. This is Sarah Reagor,
Hello,
who's sitting in for Andrew
hello.
Duhon. Andrew's on the road on
Where
tour.
is he right now? In
He's
Europe?
somewhere in Europe. You can go to andrewduhon.com and
Okay.
find out. If you happen to be in Europe or the UK, or you listen to this podcast and it's 2014, yeah, check it out and see where he is and go see him. But he'll be back at some point. I don't know when.
Well,
Do you have
I'm
any
having
clue?
a great time.
Yes, until
I
he
hope
comes back.
he
What the hell?
doesn't come back just because I'm having fun on these
Oh,
Thursdays.
maybe he'll take Malaysian Airlines and never make it.
Oh,
So-
that was rough. That was below the belt.
No, I'm sure he won't because I don't think they're still in business. Probably are they? Or are they?
I don't know.
So what do you do, Sarah, when you're not
I
here?
am the sales rep for Covington Brew House.
Oh, that
Oh,
sounds fun.
okay. That's a good
So,
job. That's a good gig.
Here's my business card.
Oh.
Ah, there you go.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, so
gotta
I
get your card,
slang
too.
beer. I'm trying to, expand Covington Brew House, and
Mhm.
we have a
It's
lot
good
of good
beer.
flavors. And
Is it for
a lot
sale
of
here
good
at
beer.
Wayfare
We're
yet?
actually they're getting our Bach on tap.
Okay.
Oh, there
yeah.
you go.
So
Okay,
we're
here's
gonna have
Jak
our
Locke
Bayou
from the
Bach.
Jak Locke Rock Show's back.
Oh,
So Jack,
That was amazing, by
thank
the
you.
way.
Yeah, that
yes,
was great.
everybody's very impressed.
oh, very good. Thank you.
What if I hadn't asked you to play for another 5 minutes? Could you have held on?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of numerical references in that song, I noticed.
Oh, are there? I didn't
Do
even
you
notice
notice that? Have you got the lyrics in front?
26.
Something about 26. I guess I was off by 9. I couldn't quite pick what the lyrics
Yeah,
was.
that means that I bought an underage whore. It's not a real story. But
You bought an underage whore.
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 You
26,
thought she was
but off by
26.
That's a
nine.
Marrero. That's a Marrero
She
whore.
was
for you.
26, but you thought she was 26, but she was actually 35.
No, the other way.
Off by
17.
9 down. Yeah, 17.
Oh, she was actually 17.
Do
oh,
the
down.
math.
Oh, I see.
No wonder
It's
you don't-
17.
Rough.
No wonder
Hey,
your residuals are always shorter.
17 is still
Going
legal.
the wrong
though.
way with the numbers, I guess.
17 is
Ew.
legal, though, isn't it?
In some states.
In Louisiana, it is.
It is, right?
it really?
Where was this happening, these underage whore?
Oh.
I didn't think about it that much. I was just making a song.
Oh, it's just like it doesn't
Yeah.
exist in you.
It's more of an atmosphere thing.
And there was another numerical reference, Sarah,
there
wasn't
now?
there? Did you notice that as well?
No, I noticed the 26. I
well,
was
there's
off by
a
9.
Some-
3 p.m.
3
is that-
p.m.
That's more of a time reference
So
than
what's this
numerical.
song about?
Okay.
It's about a drifter who just gets himself in a bunch of trouble, and it's just about what kind of decisions he's made, I guess. Yeah, it's
I'm
more of a
glad to know
story
it
song.
wasn't about you.
Oh, no, it's not about me.
Okay, so let's
If
talk.
it was, I wouldn't say it
Let's
was.
talk about these two films.
I hope not.
Your two films and David's one film. Where are you both with it, Jack? So last time we spoke to you, I remember this distinctly. You were looking for a bar room with like doors, like you see in a western.
Right, yeah, we
Whatever
weren't able
they're
to find
called.
one, so I had to build one. We built a bar, we bought some swinging doors, hooked them
Swinging
up.
doors.
We found a place that was above a restaurant, just this abandoned upstairs that the guy owned. He was just like, yeah, I'm going to convert it into a condo or something in about 2 years, but until then, do whatever you want with it. And so we did. And yeah, finally got that shot.
So you got an actual location.
Yes.
And where was this? In town?
That was
somewhere?
in Homa.
In Homer.
Most of the film was shot down the bayou in like Homa, Thibodeau area.
And
Okay.
what's it called?
It's called Targeted. It's two
Targeted.
films. One that I wrote when I was 6, and then I put so much money into the film, trying to put it together. And it was like, it'd be a waste to put all this money and talent, because I had a bunch of people involved with it for just this silly script. So I wrote a better script and decided I was going to film both films at the same time since they shared a lot of characters.
Are you in it as well as directing
Yes,
it?
yeah,
So
right.
you wrote, starred, and directing.
Right.
And
It's
producing.
it's mostly sort of an experiment to see if I'm worth a shit at doing, this kind of project.
Well, and how far through are you? You shot the whole thing now.
We've shot the whole thing. There's a couple of interstitial scenes or transitions left, but that's like, 2 5-minute shoots.
And you're editing it together.
Yeah, it's already edited together.
Okay, so let me ask you this then: are you worth a shit as a film director?
I feel like I am. I think it's come
Worth a
together a
shit.
lot better than I
That could
thought
be a
it
great
would. Yeah.
review.
Worth a shit.
Worth a shit.
That'd be a success for me.
Well, you have a
Somebody's
good contact
this is
right
worth it.
here.
Absolutely, yeah.
So when are we going to see?
Somebody in the legitimate
Yeah,
film.
maybe you can show David, or you have to make a trailer, I guess, next or something.
I do, yeah. I made an early trailer because I needed to put something together for a pitch for a location that we were considering. So I put that out, I think, last year. We've been working on it for almost 2 years now because nobody's getting paid,
Right.
least of all me. And so, you just work around everybody's schedule.
So, when do you think it's going to be done? Like we could
What
see
I've been
something like-
telling everybody is when it's done. For you, I'll say that I am
Roughly.
aiming
This
for
year.
November or December.
this year.
Yeah.
So we'll
yeah,
see
this
something
year.
this year. Awesome! Congratulations!
Thank
I'm
you.
excited.
And
be-
where is the first showing going to be? Do you have a place
I
in mind? that
I
you're
haven't
like,
even thought of that yet. I
okay.
still got to do sound foley and soundtrack.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, once I'm nearing the end of doing the soundtrack, I'll definitely start,
we could,
focusing on that.
We
and
could
asking people.
invite all the guests that have ever been on Happy Hour.
Mhm.
Was you were the very first music guest on the very first Happy Hour. We
Oh,
can invite
wow.
everyone who's ever been on Happy Hour to come to a special screening.
That would be wonderful.
That would be
There you
cool.
go.
That'd be
would
a
be
great
wonderful.
party
Yeah.
as well,
There you
wouldn't
go.
it?
No
Absolutely.
kidding.
I'll bring the beer.
That's a good idea.
Yes.
She'll bring
okay.
she'll bring the Italian food.
That would
Hey.
require me actually having to cook.
Do you cook?
I do.
Well, this is like, are you
Does
married?
your mom make
Are
the
you single?
best Italian meals
I
ever? What's
am
your birthday
so
meal?
not married and will never get married.
Never get married. Okay. Do you have
Until
a
you find
boyfriend
the
or
right
a
one.
girlfriend or anything at all? What
Right.
sort of
Not to
express-
get personal
What sort of
here, Grant,
expression is that? That was not
I was
even
like,
eye
I'm
rolling. That was
disgusted
like your
that
eyes
you asked me
disappeared.
that.
Yeah,
Men are
I'm
pigs.
just not going to comment on any of it. I have way too much on my plate right now to even worry
You
about
couldn't be bothered
a
with that.
man
Right.
or a dog or anything.
Not even a dog.
This
I can't even take care of my
This
cats.
girl's kicking ass,
How many
taking
cats
names.
do you
She
have?
doesn't need a man.
I have 2 that I'm allergic to. I can't keep up with my laundry. I can barely get the clothes to the dry
This
cleaners.
is why you need a guy around the house to do the
I'm
laundry.
telling you. No, I
Yeah, I
have.
don't
Like, David,
like-
I
are
have
you
3
available?
cats.
If-
I don't
I have 3
like those
cats.
kind of guys, though.
I have-
that
You don't want a
they're
guy
not.
that does
They're not
laundry.
contributing at all.
No, I don't like the kind of guys that are like will overly dote on me and like, oh,
Yeah,
here's the
yeah.
laundry in here because I'm too.
What kind of guy do you like?
Well, typically, I like, I don't know. Can we change the subject? You
No,
know what?
not yet.
No,
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 I
no,
have
no,
a-
very
my
comfortable.
Welcome to a Grant
my
Morris
Twitter-
production.
My Twitter handle is Balance Health LA, and you can find us at Balance Integrative Health on Facebook.
Very
There you
nice.
go.
I have
And
a
we wanna
question
see-
for
That
you.
was a good segue, wasn't it?
This has to do with food. What's your favorite meal that your mom makes? An
Well,
Italian
okay,
meal.
so
or your grandma.
Yeah, no, my mom's not a good cook. It was my dad that
Or
was
your
the cook
dad.
and the whole side of the family. So
Okay.
it's my
We're
dad.
looking for a guy who can cook, just like Dad.
This guy, he won't even. He won't
Wow,
stop.
You won't let it
Really?
go.
All
Right,
Well,
You
I'll
won't
tell you
let it
something.
go.
We're talking.
I think
My-
it's fair to say, if we
my-
can say Jack is good looking, we can say Lena's good looking too, right?
Thank you. My
She's
grandmother
gorgeous.
made the best arrabbiata pasta sauce.
Everybody
homemade.
here at this table is gorgeous except you and me, Grant. Let's face it.
Well, come on. Well, that's
So
not
that
bad.
was-
3
that
out of
was
5.
favorite, but I actually
Pasta
like a
arrabbiata.
carbonara, pasta
Have you ever heard?
carbonara, her lasagna.
I love pasta carbonara. Can you make that?
Uh-huh.
Can you have us all over for that?
I'll consider it.
Do you know
He's
how
trying
hard?
to get an invite to
do
your
you know
house.
how hard
Are
it is to
you
find?
hitting on me?
He's
Yes.
like, he's
Absolutely.
asking you all these
Is
questions
that
about
what's really going
boyfriends.
on?
That's
Yes.
what
I like
Lena,
older men.
Lena,
okay,
it's
that
what it's
much I will
called.
give you.
I wish I was older
It's
than
called
you.
subtext.
Yes.
You know?
Hey, you know what? It's very hard to find a good pasta carbonara in New Orleans.
I know.
Where have you had a good one? Anywhere at all?
I've not.
So you have to just make
I've
it.
had it, at some places where it's pretty good, but it's.
I've heard Vincent's is good. I've heard
Vincent's?
Eileen's is good. No.
No.
Well, they're.
Have you
good,
been to Vincent's?
But
Eileen's?
Vincent's
Eileen's.
is probably
Eileen's.
my. Yeah, Vincent's is
Eileen's?
probably my
No,
favorite.
Eileen's.
Irene's, sorry.
Vincent's is your favorite pasta carbonara.
It's my favorite, like, sort of
Like
Have
Italian
you been to
place.
Italian Barrel?
I have not. I've
That
heard
place
it's great.
is
I haven't
very
been there
the
yet.
That's
best
good.
Italian meal
I'll
I've
be
had
honest,
in New Orleans.
I really try to avoid the Italian food in New Orleans because it's just nothing is ever good enough for me when
Right.
it comes to Italian food. I can make it at my house better.
Okay, well, we're coming over. When do you make it? How often do you cook?
don't.
When exactly,
I can't even do my
date
laundry.
and
When
time
do you
are
think
you
I
going to
cook?
have this
How much
ready
laundry have
for
you got
us?
stacked up right now there?
I think
A
he's
good
trying to get
bit.
an
A lot.
invite.
Does it pile up in the cupboard? or-
Well, yeah, I have a
What's the
like
deal?
laundry cabinet in a cupboard
Yeah.
under the stairs. So there's the
Lord.
washer and the dryer, and it's piled up as high as both of them, like
Every
in this
time.
little area.
So are you going to give her your number, or
What
where's
about-
this
no, I'm
headed
not-
right
I'm not
now?
volunteering to
I
doing-
mean,
to
are you
doing
going to
your
do
laundry.
the laundry and she's going to
So
do
Grant,
cooking for us?
do you have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
Or a
Yeah,
boyfriend?
you like-
have a girlfriend
Do
or
you
a
like
boyfriend?
older?
I have a cat.
All right,
one cat?
she has two
I don't know if I'm
cats.
So the
allergic to
answer
her
is
or
no.
not, though. How can you tell if you're allergic
She
to a
has
cat?
two
Your
cats.
eyes
You
will
have
itch
one
and you'll break
cat.
out in hives.
Really? Do you have that? Mm-hmm. Why don't you
But
get
you
rid
still
of them?
have the cats.
Because they've been my cats for like 15
Have
years.
you
and
always
You've
been
had
allergic
hives for
to 'em?
15 years.
No, I just
I can hook
started-
you up with an integrative medical clinic.
I got allergic to them about 4 or 5 years ago as they aged.
So they get more allergy
Their
inducing as they
dander
get
and
on.
their hair changes, and it's
Does it?
become a problem. And I know a really good integrative care center too.
Well, let's go down there. What's the deal with a cat? Why does their hair change?
I'm not a vet.
Is it diet?
Who knows?
Maybe.
They're cats.
They're cats. Ask the vet. Get the vet on next
How
time.
did you end up with 3 cats, David?
Well, my ex-girlfriend, I adopted one cat.
3.
Okay, I
Yeah.
adopted one. Then she brought me a cat that turned out to be. She said it was taken care of, meaning I had it shot.
And
but
they had a
It
cat.
wasn't fixed, and it got pregnant. And I came home one day to 4 kittens on my kitchen table.
Oh,
That's awful.
That's
Yeah.
a great thing to
Did
come
your
home
one
to.
cat knock up your other cat?
No.
That one went
She
outside
went
and got
outside,
knocked
got
out.
knocked up. The neighborhood
That
slut.
dirty
Yeah,
cat.
that's dirty slut. And she came back in and had 4 kittens on my. So I adopted out most of them.
3.
And I had 2
You got
left,
stuck
and
with
I
them.
couldn't get rid of them. And I just got. Well, I got.
So what are
attached to
their
them.
names? Tell us their names.
Well, ironically, my first cat is named Lena, but it's spelled
Oh.
differently. It's
That
spelled
is really
differently.
funny.
How many
L-I-N-A. I think you L-E-N-A.
Yeah.
L-I-N-A, named after Lena Wertmuller,
Ooh.
the director.
Okay, yes.
Yes.
And
are the other
Audrey,
2?
because she's so skinny, like Audrey Hepburn, you know.
Okay.
And Betty,
Beautiful.
who's like the golden cat, like
Right.
Golden Girl Betty, right?
Yes.
You know, big, yeah.
And
So-
then what are your names?
Sahara, because she looks like a desert and she's really, really fat, so she's expansive.
Okay.
And Flash, but we call her Speedy because she runs away.
All right.
It's
And
very
then
skittish.
what's yours?
Poppy.
Poppy.
Mhm.
Okay.
But she came with that name, so
Have y'all
You named
ever
it after
seen,
heroin?
yes. No, she came with that name, so I don't even.
Have y'all ever seen a cat or dog with just like 2 legs or
Yes.
3 legs? And well, I saw one. He was in my neighborhood and he had a little.
Was his name Lucky?
His name was Speedy, and he had
That's
a
so
little.
funny.
He had 2 little arms right here. It was a dog, and he had no back legs, and they had a little.
Aw.
The carrier.
They had
yeah.
a carrier
Carrier.
for him, and they
Wheels.
called him Speedy.
Oh, poor little
cute.
thing.
That's cute.
Sarah, do you have any pets?
I had a cat. Her name was Sugar.
You had a
and
cat called Sugar. What happened?
Rest in peace.
Oh, dear.
dear.
But she would come when I called her. I would. She'd come running across the street, her tongue hanging out.
And
She
you
was
got run
great
over by a
cat.
car on the way over to you.
Well, my mom said that she passed away, but I found out the real story. She had gotten mauled by another cat in
Oh,
the neighborhood.
no.
My mom
Lame.
found
Oh,
her.
that's awful.
Dear.
But I'll tell you a funny story. One time I came
Please
home, I was
do.
a lot younger.
After
On
that tragic
on
one.
that note, I came home one day and she was covered with red, and I just thought she was bleeding. I started bawling my eyes out, and I wrapped her up in a towel, and I was just crying. I was probably in middle school. I brought her to my mom, and I was like, "Mom, we have to go to the vet," just crying, and she was looking up at me, you know, curled up in my little towel that I was holding her in, just red all over her. And so I get into the car, we're going to the vet. My mom's like, "It'll be okay." I'm just bawling, crying. She's just looking up at me, kind of licking me. So we get in the car.
Your mother's licking you?
No, the little
cat.
Sugar. And then I look out the window and I'm like, there are torn up ketchup packets on the garage floor. So she had gotten into the ketchup packets. I thought she was bleeding all over
my
her body,
God.
so I was just bawling, and
That's
she was
funny.
just
That's
like, where are we
adorable.
going?
That's a special effects
Anyway,
story
so that
from
was
Targeted.
the good story.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Sugar.
Okay, Jack, we have to go around the table and complete this. Do you have any pets at your place?
I have a dead dog, yes.
a dead one.
See, I like
Now you
dogs.
have to say a funny story.
Where,
Do I?
Is
Yeah,
he
because
buried
you
in your backyard?
She's buried, yes.
Oh,
in the
what's
what
back.
was her name?
Dixie.
Oh.
I had her for 18 years.
Oh, there you
which
go.
is very long for a
What
yellow
kind of
lab.
dog? Oh,
Great.
yellow
Yellow
lab.
Labrador,
Okay,
yeah.
those are great
Oh,
dogs.
I love
baby.
dogs.
Was she big?
no, you can't have a dog because
No,
you're
she
never
was
home.
small,
Can't you
actually.
take
No,
it?
I
Can't you
had
take it
we
to
had
the-
dogs. We had Italian
She had
Mastiffs for a
cancer
while,
in
and
her
they're
stomach,
huge.
yeah.
But I
Bull
don't live
Mastiffs?
with them anymore. So
But could you take the
Sad.
dog to work? Because that's very restful having a dog.
you cannot have animals in a health clinic.
No.
Oh.
Just like in a restaurant, you're not
Makes
supposed to
sense.
have them either.
It's not
Can't stand
But what about if it's a therapy dog?
not in a clinic. It's like
Yeah,
not.
They take them to hospitals.
Yeah,
no-no.
during certain specific areas when, but like I can't have them in the clinic when we're treating patients and
Okay.
there's sickness that
Hey.
endangers the dog and the
So
people.
I got this off the internet, so it's probably true, right?
Okay.
These are all the things I can get done over there at Balance. I
Yup,
can
you
get a
got it.
sinus massage.
You can.
Who does that?
Our massage
I like the
therapist.
What does
sound
that
of that.
mean?
Basically, what it
I never heard of that.
is
That's
why
it's
I
just
found an
it's a
expire.
massage of the face, and
Okay.
they
I
use
need
essential
that.
oils like spearmint, wintergreen, eucalyptus, hot towels, and they open up your sinus passages and they oxygenate the skin so you get more blood flow there, and they're really
Okay.
great.
That must feel great.
It does feel
Wow.
Does that help with the? Do you have when you get the allergies? Is it respiratory?
great.
Or just
Well, you
hives?
can get Oh, me?
You.
No,
Yeah.
I get eyes and hives.
Hives.
Yeah, I have drops.
You don't
you-
have
did you-
hives today. Now,
No.
what else? I can get kinesiology there as well.
Yeah, we have a consultant that does movement
is it?
consults and watches how you move, your gait. If you have chronic injuries, they can advise you on what types of exercises that you would be doing. We aren't a gym, so we don't do exercise
Right.
there, but we can refer you to people that would help
So-
you, like maybe Pilates. You need to do this to
Right.
strengthen the muscle around your
So
hip
these
if you
people
have
are
hip
all
injuries.
in your clinic. They're all sitting there waiting for me to come in.
Well, they're not all sitting there. Everybody has different days. We have massage therapists in on every day. We have doctor in on every day. We have Eastern medical practitioners every day.
So So if I'm feeling sick, for example, I've got something wrong. I wake up and I feel like crap.
Mm-hmm.
Can I go to your place like I would go to a regular doctor?
Yep.
So
Yeah,
it's
you
a
can-
regular. Look, there's Poppy right there, by the way.
Oh,
There
look.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, don't come for us for an emergency. Like if you're having chest pains, go straight to the hospital. We're not an urgent care center.
no,
you
but
know?
if I wake up and I would
If you have a
normally
cold,
I
if
would
you have a
normally
cold.
go to a doctor because
Yeah.
I don't have what would used to be called a family doctor
Mm-hmm.
or a primary care physician because I can't even fucking find one. To tell you the
Yeah.
truth. And it really annoys me. So I could actually
come
could
and
be
have our use
so
our
you could
family
be
doctor.
you could be a family doctor at your place.
Yep, we're
Like
waiting.
Like a GP.
Yeah, we have an general internal medicine. We have 2 Eastern medical practitioners that practice with the internist. So if you came in and you've got a cold and you don't want, there's really nothing you can give for a cold. Although a lot of days these doctors are giving out Zithromax and stuff because that's what we think we're supposed to.
And they wonder
have.
why there's all these strains of
We have a
bacteria
lot
floating
of-
around that
Ebola.
are
We have
that are immune to antibiotics
Yes,
now.
yeah. We have a lot of great herbal remedies, and our practitioners can personalize them and mix them. We compound,
that.
order from a pharmacy,
That's
and
great.
compound everything for you.
Wow. So the last time I tried to do this, I had to go to a doctor to get something for a blood test or some bullshit. I couldn't get an appointment. When I finally did find some clinic that would see people, as like a primary care physician, I had to wait 6 weeks to be seen.
Wow.
Well, now's
How
the
long-
time for you to come and see us
How
because
long
we
do I
have
have to
very minimal wait times right
Okay.
now. If you wanted to see our physician, let's see, what's today, Thursday? I could get you an appointment next Wednesday.
Wow.
In a week.
Impressive.
So within a week.
Yep.
Okay. And do you take all the forms of health insurance, or how does that work?
We have applied for all of our health insurance. A couple of them are rolling in right now. It's such a long process, but we will be taking everything except Medicaid. We'll take Medicare. We have Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, United, TRICARE. We're doing them all.
Well, here's the big one. If I don't have health insurance, is it still affordable?
Yes, and that's kind of the way we designed it. The average visit for anything thing in our clinic is $150 for an hour and a half of time with anybody. We give you
hour and a half.
We give you an hour, $150 an hour with our MD, and you can stay the whole hour. You're not pushed out of the door in 20 minutes.
See,
Extraordinary.
that's amazing.
Now, if you were
usually you're
gonna-
in and out.
A cash visit
Wow.
is generally about $150 these days, sliding scale, and you get 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe. So
If you're lucky.
Maybe, yeah.
At the most.
I mean, and they're looking at
Yeah.
their watch. They're trying
No, the
to
doctor
go to
normally
the
you
next
sit in that exam
person.
room waiting for the doctor to
For
come.
an
And the
hour.
doctor your doctor breezes in. What is
5
it?
minutes.
Say,
Yeah.
I've
out.
got these hives from my cat. They're like, write your
Right.
prescription.
Well, that's
And they walk
amazing.
out.
And they
That's
walk
it.
out.
Yeah,
That's
and
it.
and the other
It's
really
nowhere
cool
near
part
20
about it
minutes.
is every single one of our practitioners looks at your chart. So even if you go get a massage, the doctor's going to look at your chart. So you kind of get a bonus in every
love
single
that.
visit that you come. You know, I can go see the nutritionist, and the doctor is looking at the chart too. We have rounds once a month at our clinic where we sit down with all the practitioners. We go over charts,
Wow.
medical record
See, that's
systems with
that's
patient portals.
amazing.
This
We
is
communicate
fantastic.
directly with our
That's
patients.
unbelievable.
So
I'm
if
That
you
really is
suggest
Glad
great.
to have met you. This is this
So,
whole thing has been worth it.
One more question for you. When are we gonna have dinner? Next Wednesday, is it?
Is
We're
that
gonna-
right?
We're
We're gonna
gonna
have the
all.
pasta
She's gonna cook for
carbonara.
all of us.
It has to be Sunday
could buy
because
the-
the Sunday
we could
it's
buy the
always
stuff.
Sunday
It's always
dinners.
Sunday. We'll
It's
go
how
to
you
church
can-
and then we'll go
Where do we
to
buy
dinner.
Where do we buy the prosciutto from for the carbonara?
I got it covered, and
You
actually,
has it.
true carbonara uses pancetta. If I do
Oh.
it with prosciutto, it's not
Uh-oh.
carbonara.
Oh, it's pancetta.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't be
But if
telling
I can
her what's
do it-
in her
Okay.
carbonara.
I can make it with prosciutto,
girl
but that's
knows what's in
actually a
it.
different
She's
dish.
calling you
Well, I
out.
was thinking we could buy the ingredients and you could cook it. Then
I'll let you
wouldn't have
guys
to-
buy the
Yeah,
ingredients.
so you have to tell us where to go. Where do you
Yeah.
buy all the right stuff?
Well, it just kind of it depends. Like, I don't know, Stein's Deli gets some really great prosciutto and pancetta and stuff from New York. So, to look at my
Stein's.
ingredients
So it's
list.
right. Stein's is right by you too.
Yep, Stein's is like across the street
Yeah,
from
right.
my business. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
so we could
cool.
we do that. I
Plug
could
for
do
some.
that. We can have some pasta carbonara.
Awesome.
You'll be sorry that you said that because we're going to take you up on that. We've
that's
got to get
fine.
out of here in a minute to make way for paying customers. Jack, can we have one more
Oh,
song out of
certainly.
you before we go? Okay. I can't believe it's an hour has gone by
that'd be
already.
quick.
What happened there? I didn't get onto any
I
of
talked
these.
a lot. What happened?
We haven't even read this book yet.
Oh, spare time, read it.
It looks right.
I give it to her.
I haven't bought a real book in
It's a
ages.
Ken Toole, aficionado.
Yeah, that's right. You should read this first, Lena.
I'm actually very interested in reading that book.
Well, everyone has to have like
Yeah.
we have it like a library system.
We become friends.
Okay, could everyone please give Jack a shot at it?
I'm drinking boxed wine in a house that ain't mine. Tomorrow night I'm bound to do the same. This woman's spell would chase me until it had erased me. Except I found a way to rig a game. See if she knows where I'm sleeping. Her black magic can creep in. Her voodoo bloodhound find me anywhere. But alcohol's a magic thing. It sends that dog off wandering. A spell can't wake if they can't find me there. I know it's her. I tell you it's her. She eat me alive. See, when I stop my drinking, that's when the case is sinking. I got to keep my pace and not refrain. Oh, every spider I can't see will crawl inside and over me to let me know she's found me once again. And it's my soul that she devours with all them devil powers. I feel it every time my rhythm falls. My limbs will shake, my mind will break, my skin will sweat to feel a lake, and she won't stop until she eats it all. Oh, I know it's her. I tell you it's her. She eat me alive. tell you it's so. She eat me alive. The doctor says cirrhosis, but what he doesn't know is that woman's voodoo magic wants to play. Oh yeah!
Oh my God. Now, doesn't that tie the whole thing together? A song about cirrhosis to end happy hour for this week. Jack, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have you ever seen a guy like that? We're sitting around here like at this little tiny table, shoulder to shoulder, and suddenly it's like a volcano.
Yeah.
Jack, you're a brave man, and thank you so much.
Project well.
Isn't he awesome? Thank you so much for coming back for
Thank you for having
visit
me.
number 6.
Yes,
Yeah.
visit number 6. Let's go for 7 later.
Yes, lucky number, right?
Keep it odd numbers.
Keep it
You
odd.
gotta have him one more time, and then you gotta have him 2 more times after that.
Well, how
how it
long do we
works, yeah.
have before we have to have him back to make it right?
It's like
Soon.
can't let him hanging out there on 8 very long.
On 6. You mean.
Well, he's at 7 now.
No, he's
We're
at
gonna
6 now.
Yeah, don't leave him hanging
So
on
you
6
can't leave
for
him
too
hanging at
long.
6. What could happen to him?
Well, nothing, but
Nothing.
No,
So I
but
might feel
it's-
too
you wanna
guilty
keep
about
him
that.
on those odd numbers. They're just much more
Let's
fun.
get on it. Okay, you're listening to the voice of Lena Sendik. Thank you so much, Lena, for joining us. David DuBos has been here
Thanks
as
for
well.
having me.
And Sarah Reagor sitting in
Thank you.
for Andrew Duhon, as well as the fabulous Jak Locke back there. Not long, of course, on number 6. Soon it'll be 7. The producer of our show is Graham DePonte. Our associate producer and technical director is Chris Kehoe. Christian Unruh is our music director, and Joshua Brown is our music coordinator. The theme song that you're currently listening to was written by and is being played by Mitch Foreman. The fabulous audio quality of this show is brought to you in part by PreSonus Audio Electronics. For more information about their wide range of sound recording equipment and software, visit presonus.com. If you'd like to be on our show and you can sit upright for about an hour and have a couple of drinks, drop us a line. Our address is on our website. If you'd like a beer, check out Covington Brew House. You can find them at covingtonbrewhouse.com. You can check out our other happy hour shows and plenty of other shows as well, including Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti live from Commander's Palace, Mindset with psychiatrist Dr. Nick Pajek, True to the Game with Chris True, and Midnight Menu +1 with Margot Moss and the man who ate New Orleans, Ray Canada. They're all on our website. It's neworleans.com. You can keep up with us also on Facebook, on Twitter, and a bunch of other time-sucking social media. On all of it, we're called It's New Orleans. You can find photos from this show on itsneworleans.com and on our Facebook page. These photos are taken by the fabulous Douglas Engel. There he is, contorted over the table. If you're listening to this on iTunes, Stitcher, Swell, or some other podcast app that you like better, thank you so much for subscribing to us. If you could, just stop everything you're doing right now and take a moment to rate and review us. That really does help other people find us. Our show is recorded live today at Wayfare on Ferret Street, home of the handcrafted food and spirits, where they put fine dining into a sandwich, and they really do. Happy Hour is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. For everybody around here at Wayfare, everybody back at the INO office, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Grant Morris. See you back here next week on Happy Hour.
Hi folks, Dirk Bentley here. Being on the go is a big part of my life. I love seeing new places, meeting new people, and performing all over the world. For energy on the go, for me, it's 5 Hour Energy. It works fast, works long, and it tastes good. With 0 sugar and 4 calories. Try it. It could work for your on-the-go life too. 5 Hour Energy. Energy on the go.
Get 5 Hour Energy at your local 7-Eleven.